For week 3 with our U8s, we're going to focus on our change of pace and direction on the dribble, continuing to build on what we've worked on the first 2 weeks. Again, it's really important early in the season that we're building on-ball confidence. We're starting to introduce a little bit of our team shape, certainly, and we'll work through that when we actually play and we scrimmage, and certainly during our games during the season. But the important thing is developing that on-ball confidence early and understanding how we engage defenders, when we engage defenders, when we take big touches, small touches, skill moves we use, and specifically how we change our pace and direction to escape from a defender, because we are going to have so many 1v1 scenarios or 1v2 scenarios at this level of play. So the warm-up is simple for this week. We're going to have a line of players at one cone, represented by this blue cone right here, that is on a 90-degree angle at the set of orange gates. So the setup here, we have 2 different lines, and we have 2 gates, these orange gates here, and 2 different cones that are diagonal from each other, making a square with these gates. So the warm-up will start without a ball. The player at the blue cone facing into the gates will call go, and the player who is at this blue cone, opposite them, diagonal, is going to try to run through a gate without being tagged. So if we can run in a straight line without that defender getting to us and get through without being tagged, we get a point. That encourages acceleration. But if the defender starts to cheat this direction, then we need to be able to change directions and go through this gate. One thing we'll start to consider as we go through a few rounds of this warm-up, just a fun tag game, works well every single season, is how players might start going toward one gate, again, to influence the defender's movement and direction, and then go another direction. So if we've worked on body feints for 2 weeks, this might be where we're thinking about leaning a shoulder toward one gate to commit the defender, and then going toward the other gate. When players go through the gate, they'll go to the back of then the opposite line. So the player who goes through this gate will go to the back of the tagger line. The player who is tagging will go to the back of the escape line. The next round of this activity is simple. It will just involve a soccer ball. So in this case, we have player number 7 at the tagger cone and player number 2 at the receiving cone, the escape cone. Player number 7 will kick the ball in, pass to player number 2, and player number 2 is going to try to do the exact same thing as they did in the first round, but now we have a soccer ball at our foot and we're dribbling, so we're trying to escape with change of direction and speed to get through a cone, thinking about some of the skill moves we've worked on, body feints, scissors, L-turns if we're really capable of it, to influence a defender's direction one way and then escape with acceleration the other. The next activity we'll get to is what I call turbo and slow-mo zones. So it's another skill build activity, but we'll have a narrow band of cones around midfield, represented by the orange cones in this case, and those are going to be a slow-mo zone that are going to change our speed from fast to slow. So players will start, in this case the player number 5 will start with the soccer ball in what we call a turbo zone. So they're going to start by speed dribbling, and then they're going to slow down into the slow-mo zone once they get here and work on changing our pace. So we're going to work on a few skill moves here. So we'll start fast, go slow through this area, and then we'll finish fast with an explosive speed dribble after we execute a skill move. So the skill moves we'll learn in this case, we are going to work on a slow-mo hover where a player keeps the ball or their foot above the ball as it's rolling, looks one direction as the ball's rolling forward, hovers over the ball momentarily, and then accelerates on the next touch to get through. Great way to freeze a defender and commit them to plant their feet. We'll work on a slow motion stop and go, so the player will accelerate, they'll briefly stop the ball with their foot, and then they'll roll it forward or kick it forward to get through. So once we stop, the defender is coming in and stopping too, and then we just roll or push the ball past the defender in the slow-mo zone here. And then finally, we're going to work on one that maybe only 3, 4, 5 players will be able to do, but we like to be able to challenge players who are capable to demonstrate that they're capable, which is called a slow-mo pull and push. So a player will accelerate again into the slow-mo zone. They'll briefly pull the ball back into one foot. So if we're dribbling with our right foot on the speed dribble, pinky toe touches the ball into the slow-mo zone. That player's going to use their right foot to briefly pull the ball back into their right laces and then push the ball forward. So it's like a pullback that we don't actually go the other direction. We just pull it back briefly and then we accelerate through. These skill moves we'll use in our next game. For our next game, we'll set up another 3 gates and we're going to have another tag defending game that uses our change of pace skills and what we've been working on so far. So we'll start with a round where players do not have a ball. Players on, in this case, the right side of the line, and this is the line of cones we have. We have 3 orange gates indicated here, and I'm just using these blue dots here. I'll have different color cones to separate those gates so players aren't confused about which ones are the orange gates. We've got 1 gate, 2 gates, 3 gates. So this player will be an attacker, the player number 8. Player number 11 will be a defender. Player number 8 is going to try to run through a gate without 11 tagging them. So if they can get there with speed, great, they can win that way. But we also want to think about our change of direction. So we might start to go down the line, we commit the defender down the line, and then we change our direction and we go back and we get through. Once players get through a gate, they're just going to swap to the back of the opposite line. Now the second round of this is probably pretty obvious. Then players on the right side will have a ball at their foot and they are going to try to escape through one of the gates by dribbling through, not passing or shooting, but dribbling using the change of direction and skill moves that we built over the first 3 weeks. So this might be a case where we're getting the defender to come down the line. We freeze them going down the line with a stop start, a hover, one of the skill moves we just learned in our last activity. And then, whoop, that ball went into that gate. And then we're dribbling through one of these gates. So using our change of speed, we can also use a change of direction. So we might use a pullback, right, to go the opposite direction. Or if we're really crafty, maybe we do an L turn to cut back and then go the opposite direction to escape through a gate.